Welcome to the FLI Girls podcast, where we're keeping it real, keeping it live, and keeping it fly. Tiff, what we gonna talk about today?
Well, first, let's talk about the Fly Girls podcast, where we discuss goals, relationships, and college life, and basically just a Black woman's take on being fearless in the pursuit of success and a full life. I am Tiffany Lewis, and I am one of the Fearless Leadership Institute's co-founders. And today, with our introductions, we're going to talk about love languages. So my love language, I believe, is acts of service. That is how I receive love, people doing things for me, and that is also how I give love. So that's how I show that I love you or that I'm into you, by doing just things to show you how much I appreciate you. Sydney, how about you?
Okay, so I'm Sydney. My love language is quality time for sure.
Oh,
Yes, I love quality time. I just feel like it's so like intentional when people like spend quality time with me and it's not rushed or anything, or something's really thought through. It's like it really like tugs at my heart. So I'm gonna pass it off to Marissa. What's your love language?
Hey, you guys, I'm Marissa. So I really think that my love language is different in terms of how I give love and how I like to be loved. So, how I like to be loved, I'm split between acts of service and words of affirmation. I absolutely love that. Like, I feel like I lead a really busy life and I don't like to ask for help. So, if they're like the person that's loving on me, like, can ever just jump in and provide any type of assistance, like, that is definitely how I feel loved. And then in terms of loving on other people, I think I love on them primarily with words of affirmation and gift giving. I just really love like personalized, intentional gifts, like the little things that people may not notice. Like, I think it makes them feel a little special. But that is definitely me. I'm going to pass it off to Kes.
Pastor Thais. I'm curious to know what her love language is.
Sure. So my name is Thais. I serve as the director for FLI. So glad to be here today. My love language, I would say, I like how you divided it up, Marissa, versus how you give and how you receive. But let's see, how I give definitely is probably touch and affection. I love hugs. But I would say on the flip side, I love receiving hugs too. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. Now, all five love languages, I shoot. I will take all of them. If you want to give me a gift, please do. If you want to boost my ego, please do. If you want to do something for me, I will take it. And I love spending time with people. So I love all five of them. My biggest one are hugs. How about you, Cass? What'd you
I
say,
feel that
Sam?
my name is Cassiana. But yeah, I think my love language is physical touch and quality time. I feel like they go hand in hand. But yeah, I like warm hugs too. I'm really only touchy-feely when I really love you like that. So I think that's like a sign of like intimacy or like closeness with somebody for me, is like if I'm open to giving you a hug, that's a good thing. Other people just like, hey, from afar.
Stay back.
Yeah. So I love a good game. I want to play a game with you guys. So would you rather is the game, but we're gonna talk about the boo edition. So would you rather have a boo who does X, Y, and Z? So I'll go first. Would you rather have a boo who can lie, but can like give you all of the surprises that you want in the world? Or would you rather have a boo that can't lie and will never surprise you with anything?
Can I play? Can I guess?
Can you say one more time? Just repeat for me.
Yes. Would you rather have a boo who can lie and can give you the surprises that you may want? Or would you rather have a boo who can't lie to save himself and will never surprise you because he can't keep a secret?
Oh,
I want the second one. I don't need to be surprised. I need you to be a very bad liar. I want to know what's going on at all times. I don't want to be bamboozled. I also am not the best with like my reactions don't necessarily always match like how I'm feeling, like how other people think that I'm feeling, like my facial expressions. So we could just avoid all of that. We don't need the surprise. Just let me know and I can help plan.
I'm with Marissa, but I love a good surprise. But I'm like the whole lying aspect. I'm like, are we just lying about like gift surprises and stuff, or we like lying about everything to
Well,
where?
if they can't lie about a surprise, they can't lie about a lot of things.
So yeah, no, I'll go with number two.
Yeah, ditto. I don't need the liar in my life.
For me, I kind of like the spontaneity. I don't want you to be a liar. Like, but if you lying about surprising me and you're really good at like, you really got me good, I like that kind of a liar.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Like I always felt like I don't know. I'm here for the show. I'm here for the dramatic. So I love a good surprise.
You too.
But then now, like my boyfriend, he can't lie, and so now I'm not getting the surprises that I really wanted. But he was like, "Would you rather me be a good liar or what?" Like I guess I, in actuality, I'm leaning towards Marissa and everybody. But I love a good show. Like I like a good dramatic surprise. Everybody
Now
around.
see when it's all explained, I see what you mean now, Cass. At first I thought you just meant a liar and it's like someone who just lies in general. I didn't know you meant as it pertains to surprising you with things. So
Well, I
yeah.
guess that conversation made me realize that if you can lie about surprises or like the process of a surprise, then that means you
Yeah.
can't lie about other things.
Yeah, and you smooth with it. That's
And
true.
And then if you get me with surprises, you probably getting me with everything else too.
Right? That's hey, which kind of goes with our subject for today, but we're gonna talk about that in a minute. I'm gonna do my would you rather. So would you rather have a boo who told you exactly what they were thinking, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, or left you to kind of guessing, but they didn't tell you like all the negative things? So somebody who just lays it all out in front of you, or somebody who holds some things in for the sake of your sanity.
Ooh, I have a spouse like this. He tells me everything, and it is hard to hear, but it has made me a better person, a better wife. Even though in the moment I'm like mad and but when I think about it, if it's true, it's true. And I would rather him tell me so I know where to fix it as opposed to him, keeping it to himself. And then, of course, we not resolving anything and then end up not together. So I think I would rather have the first, Thais.
That's good. That's good. Anybody else?
I think you made a good point. Like having the person who tells you everything, like some things could be hard to hear. But I do feel like it is important to not be left guessing because I mean, maybe you're inquisitive like me and you'll ask a lot of questions, but if you don't know what questions to ask, you're not getting the information that you may need. So maybe in the long run, it is better to have somebody that's just upfront about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just say I second both.
Sweet.
Okay, see, what is your would you rather?
Okay, so my would you rather is would you rather have a boo that treats you like a queen, but you know that he entertains other women, or have a faithful man who is controlling and very manipulative?
Neither.
Hey, you gotta pick one. You gotta pick one. I came with a hard one.
I thought you were gonna say, or would you have a man who doesn't have women on the side, but he doesn't necessarily treat you queenly?
Oh
Like
my
you're
goodness.
not royalty, but when you went with he's controlling, neither.
I
But
mean,
I have to pick. Okay, I have to pick.
Oh my God, I ain't picked.
Neither.
I have to pick a controversial one.
Wow.
But these are real situations, like
Yeah.
one or the other that people are in.
That's true.
I guess I'd rather have somebody that treats me well because in the long run, it probably wouldn't last into a relationship. But maybe if like I have a lot of guy friends, so maybe that could work. If you like treat me nice and you're a guy friend, or you turn into that, maybe that could work. It's a bit of a
That's not
stretch,
what she's talking about. She's talking about your boo.
but I don't. That's just two things that are just unacceptable on both sides of this.
Look,
Would you rather?
define entertain other women. Define that. Like he just, he's charismatic and he has conversations. But like define entertain.
Okay, let's say, yeah, he's very interactive. He can be very flirty. So he's
No,
entertaining,
Oh, good. I'm gonna have to leave him where
Like
he is.
leading women on.
like leading women on. Nothing
Oh.
happens, but you're still very flirty, and it's definitely entertaining.
I don't even need my man to be that friendly. Like, no.
Mm. It's something about other women feeling like they have a part of your boo
Hmm.
that just rubs me the wrong way. Even if he's not giving himself over to them, it's like the women kind of look at you like, oh, I got something on you, or your man ain't all that you think he is. Because I don't know, I can't do that. And then the controlling, I've been in both of those relationships and they're both toxic. So I will opt to be alone in that case.
I'll take it. Me too.
Who's next?
I go. Would you rather have a boo who is great with the kids, helpful around the house, at home often, but makes modest money? Or would you rather have a boo who's not helpful at all, very rarely at home, but he make a whole lot of money?
That's a good one.
What?
Mm.
What does rarely at home mean?
Rarely at home means he may travel a lot for his job, or maybe he just out there in the streets. However you want to define it, he just ain't there. He's not helpful. It's kind of like he's absent, but he make a whole lot of money, and you benefit from them whole lot of monies.
I feel like the money only solves some problems with that. Like what's the point in, well, at least for me, what is the point in like being married, being in this partnership, having kids, and I got to do all of it by myself for the most part, but like just funding it?
But you
I
got
could do a
resources.
job.
You can get the nannies. You can get the chefs.
Yeah, no, that's not what I want in my life. I would take modest money. The Lord, He'll provide.
You will. Amen.
Pray together about it.
Come on, Sydney. You look like you got a different opinion.
No, I have the exact same opinion.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's like he can physically support me, but I need him to emotionally support me. Like I probably be crying in the house. I'm like, I got all this and my man's not here, and like can't even talk to him about what you like emotional about because he's out making money. He might be in the streets. I don't know what he's doing.
Well, we just keep throwing. Now you can't talk to him. I didn't even say that. You can talk. You can call him. All right, that was a good one.
It was good. I'll go with the modest person. The modest money, rather.
Me too. How about
Okay.
you, Marissa? You skinning and grinning.
Oh, wait, are you asking my response or
Yeah,
which
your response. Your response. You modest or you going for the dollar sign?
it's hard. Like I want my man to be around, but I also don't want to struggle because so I don't know. Honestly, I don't have an answer. I feel I will just provide for myself in that situation. I think I'm gonna just
So you'll take the modest.
yeah, I honestly, yeah, I guess that's where I'm falling.
All right. All right.
Give y'all mine.
Okay.
Because it was
Ready
very
for
similar
it.
to yours. It was very similar. So we can go through it pretty quick. So would you rather have a boo that spoils you, provides, kids are out of the equation. So spoils you, provides, like you don't have to lift a finger, or and he doesn't fully understand you, or have a boo that fully understands you, all your intricacies, all of that, but is really not that helpful and spoiling you or anything like that?
Are our basic needs met?
That's a great question.
Maybe you're meeting your own basic needs. Maybe he's not the
He's not.
sole provider.
Ooh, that's tough right there. See, the reason I asked that is because I'm like, I don't have to be spoiled, but can we at least have our basic needs met? Do we have shelter? Can I eat when I want to? And then I'm okay. But if, yeah, that's a tough one. And Thais then added that extra Mm.
I just find it hard when if you're booed up with somebody and they don't get you, they don't understand you, like y'all aren't clicking. It just makes for a frustrating life, you know?
It's not gonna be a
So it's, what'd you say?
it's not gonna be a fun relationship.
Yeah, like, so that one's hard. That's a good one, Marissa. Like, I want somebody to get me.
Mhm.
So I think I would have to go. I can't remember what came along with that person though.
No money.
Package.
They get you, but they can't provide. You have to.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Well, I'm gonna get somebody who gets me, and then I'm gonna pray for them to be a better provider. Can we pray?
We could pray, girl. We could pray.
We gotta.
That's funny.
Hilarious. Well, that's fun. Let's go, Cass. What's next?
Wait, my response?
No, I mean our topic.
Oh, it's juicy.
Oh, it's
Oh,
good. Okay.
okay. I'm excited here.
Okay. So when we're talking about these like would you rather, and mine was kind of like a little game of as far as like surprises or whatever. But let's just talk about playing games in general in a relationship. Like what is playing games? What does it look like? Should you be doing it? Is it petty? Is it mature? Is it necessary sometimes? What do you think? I feel like games. I've heard a lot of people make excuses for playing games, like to use that to get to know somebody. Like get. I've heard of people like making plans with somebody, canceling at the last minute just to see how that person will respond.
Oh no.
That's clearly a game.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes it may work and you will learn something about somebody in that situation, but like do you really need to play a game to learn that?
Hmm.
That's not
No.
is wasting time.
That's
Like,
actually a tough one though, because I feel like I don't think you should play games ever. But I do think there are situations where you have to test people to kind of see, especially if it's a new relationship and you're just trying to see, like, okay, trying to find out more about who the person is and about their character. But I don't ever think you should I don't think you should go into a relationship playing games. But I definitely think there are situations where you just kind of, throw some bait out there and see
Mhm.
how they react to know whether or not you're going to be spending the rest of your time with them.
What does that
Mhm.
bait look like?
I'm trying to think of an example, but it's been a long time since I've dated. Like, I've been with my now husband for like 14 years. So let me try to think of what I did to him. Simple things like, when you're going on your first date, like watching to see if somebody is going to pick up the check or if they going to open the door for you, little things like that are not, they're inconsequential, they're not going to hurt nobody, but just like, I want to see how he treats me.
Mhm.
Am I going to have to be footing the bill every time we go out? Is he going to open the door for me? I used to have this thing about like when we're walking on the street, is he putting himself in between me and the street or is he putting me on the street? Some go off. Is he going to jet and leave me? I'm just trying to figure out who the person is. And so I think sometimes you can put a little bait out there to see how they react.
See, I like that. But yeah, the playing games where they're trying to make you mad and see like get a reaction out of you. I've had men like try to get a reaction out of me because they know like I'm like they're trying to read me whether I'm gonna like pop off about this or if I'm gonna be cool about this. I'm like, why don't we just talk about it? It's not like play the right games. Like those are the right games.
Yeah, can I say one more thing and I'm gonna stop talking. I actually thought of one that I did to Shelton. So our very first date, right? And I really didn't even know if it was a date. It was like he was like new to town. It was like we just going out casually, right? Because I didn't know anything about him. But one thing I did just to kind of figure out like what is this? We went to Hoover's over here down the street, and I grabbed the check. And then he was like, "You don't have to grab that. Like, don't do that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But hey, if you're gonna do that though, you got to be ready. So don't be doing that, hoping that he say, "I got it." I was ready to pay for it if it came down to that. But it was kind of a test, so I could see like, is he feeling me or is this like casual? And
That's a good
so,
example. That's
yeah.
a good example. I wanna ask about playing. Is this playing a game? So say you've started kind of talking to somebody and you don't contact them first, right? After the first date or something. Or you've just exchanged contact information, and is it playing a game if you're waiting for them to contact you first? Like, what's wrong with contacting them first? There's this whole like, thing around waiting to let them contact you because you don't want to look like you're aggressive or thirsty. Like, why does that have to be a game? Why can't it just be like, I like you, and so I'm gonna contact you?
I used to be
Like, what
real
do y'all
bad with
think?
that.
Huh?
I said I used to be really bad with that. Like really just maybe petty. Just I wasn't. I'm not the one to text somebody first. Like if anything, like if we're exchanging information, I'll give you mine. Probably like I don't. It's rare for me like for us to be exchanging. It's usually me giving you mine. Although I have had somebody say, "Let me put my number in your phone." I was like, okay. But as far as like texting somebody first, maybe it's just the type of person that I am, or like the fact that I can be old school in that way of like, I want the man to pursue me. I probably just wouldn't text first.
Now, come on, Cass. Now, last week's podcast, you was
Last month.
like, you okay with shooting the shot?
I was talking about like, say you're out and about and like, where they are in the room. So you walk by in a way like, they see you, that type of like putting yourself in a
Oh, okay. But now, so if he see you and he come up and he like, here's my number, you not gonna contact him?
I probably
That's
that
playing
practice
games.
that I just gave them. I usually don't take them. Why would I do
Oh,
that?
that's playing games. Now, if you know you interested, I'm with Tice on this
I'm kind of with Kiss on this.
one.
Like I feel like
Oh, come
okay,
on.
but it's like I get it where it's like if you want them to pursue you, I want them to text me first. Like that first initial message, that first
First,
date and
first.
stuff. Yeah. But once like we have like a little bond and stuff, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna start reaching out to you. But I need to know that like you're interested. I don't want to feel like I'm pursuing it now. It's like, hey, like so you still down to go this place? And it's like they just completely went off the map. Like you gotta know their intentions.
So what if they do the same thing, Sydney? What if they're waiting for you and waiting to know your intentions, and so y'all are still just waiting in the dark and nobody's
Just
reaching
wait.
out, and so nothing happens because
They
we
should only
both playing the game?
number.
What
Only they
said
got the number, so it's on them no matter what.
I agree. I agree with like Kat. Like I'm not really gonna exchange the number. I'm gonna give you my number, and we just, if you would like to pursue, then you will reach out, and that's fine. I don't think that part's the game. I think the game comes after the initial contact.
yeah.
Like the
Okay.
initial contact, I think is like what type of like kind of what we are talking about in the initial podcast. Like what type of man or would you like to pursue you? Like I want someone that's a little bit more forward, so that's why I want him to reach out. But after that is where the games can come into play because if I'm interested in you and you're interested in me, we can either be adults about this and just have a fluid conversation and understand that like we both have lives, or it could be the games and it's like, let me slide and see this timestamp. He took an hour, so I'm gonna take an hour and a half to respond. Like that's where the games come.
I used to do that.
I used to, and I can't do that anymore because I don't want them to be doing that to me. So I'm like, I can't.
It just turns into really long, like drawn out conversations.
Very
You never
long.
really get into the flow of a texting conversation.
Right.
So
And
yeah.
And it takes a lot of energy to play those games too, like trying to, keep track of who did what last. That takes a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
What about like if you're really intelligent, like especially in a certain area, but you downplay yourself because you don't want him to feel inferior to you. So when it comes to certain topics, you kind of play it cool. You don't really show yourself. Um, is that playing a game? So you're not really putting your full self out there?
I think that's
Or
a
the
different.
opposite, or the other part of it, say you're really silly or really goofy, but you act really like, try to be cool and reserved, and you don't let that silly, goofy side out because you think they're gonna think you're too silly? Like, are those games?
I think it's a disservice to you. I think that like it was part of like what we were talking about last time as far as like we attract somebody that we want or like what we're looking for. If I'm downplaying my silly side, then in a relationship, like if it continues, then I never get to show my full self in that way, or like I never get to talk about the things that I'm really passionate about. So I think that it really just sucks for you that you're playing games in that way.
I agree. And since we're on the subject of playing games, so there, I feel like there's a difference between like playing games and like pursuing someone, and people just playing games because they don't want nothing. They're in the game. They call it the game.
Mm.
Or
Streets.
wait, what you say?
Out in these streets.
Out in the streets. There's a different playing games.
So in other words, like they telling you they love you, they're gonna be there for you, they want to marry you, but really they're just trying to get in, get out, and all that stuff was just a lie. Is that kind of what you were talking about, Sid?
Exactly. And I actually went through like a situationship. I think that's where the concept situationship comes from. Because like I feel like I was in a situationship for a whole year trying to figure out, yeah, I was dumb, y'all.
It's okay.
But
We've all been there.
it was rough. Like it was I know what I wanted, but I could feel that he was on the same page, but he made sure that he stayed like he kept me in to a certain like kept me in so close to know that like, oh, I'm here, but I don't know if I'm ready to commit. And I feel like once if you know they're not ready to commit, run. Because I stayed for a long time, and then he ended up talking to someone for like 3 months while he was talking to me and was like, yeah, I like someone else. And I was like, huh? Yeah, it was
Yeah, he's in the game.
a mess. It was a mess.
I don't even call that playing games. You know what that is? Toxicity. Because that is just like, no, like that is too far. Like, that's absolutely like games to me is like the precursor to toxic. And like when you start seeing someone playing games with your emotions and you're not on the same page, especially when like they take it to the point of like leading you to believe one thing, knowing something else, like that's when you're really dealing with like a toxic person, and like they just have to go because it's not even like cute and petty anymore.
Wow, that's good, Marissa.
I have a question. What about like picking a fight?
Just to do what? Like to
Some people do it to get the other person to break up with them so they don't have the like responsibility of that, or to kind of like what Cindy was talking about, like just to provoke them to see how they'll react.
Or trying to see how much they really like you. I've done that. Like I picked a fight to see like how into me that person is. You know, he just ready to call it quits. And I'm like, oh, you wasn't in it anyway. But if he like falling over himself trying to get me not to be upset or get me not to leave, then I'm like, oh, he must like me. So yes, I've done that.
Yes, that's playing a game, I think. And I think that's a method of finding out, but is there a more mature way? Like, is it better to just be direct and ask the person, you know? And I think sometimes we're scared of getting our feelings hurt, scared of rejection, and so we play the games versus being real and bringing our true selves. And like you said, that's a precursor for toxicity. Is that what you said, Marissa?
Yeah.
That's good. That's
I
good.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like we were taught the game too. So now it's like the framework or like the blueprint that it's like, oh, we have to play the game because we know other people are gonna be playing games. But like trying to get out of that mindset, like that's something I've recently been getting out of the mindset of just like putting like past on to like new situations or like new relationships, just so that like I'm not playing games with my new relationship and defining what the right playing games is and not doing the toxic playing games.
But is playing a game at all healthy?
I mean, I like tip strategy.
Yeah,
like
but
Yeah.
I wouldn't define that as playing a game because I mean I think it's playing games when you constantly like coming up with tricks and trying to be like I think,
Mhm.
initially it's okay to, like I said, give some bait at the beginning just to kind of see like, because you're trying to figure out who that person is and what they're about. But, not anything that's gonna lead you all, to a
Mhm.
place that you
yeah.
can't come back from. And I feel like that's what games do. You kind of nobody's feeling at ease when you play people playing games.
Mhm.
Were
Hey
you?
y'all. Oh, go ahead, Marissa.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna ask, were you already like irritated? And so then you were like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to test him? Or were you like, I don't really know, so I'm gonna pick a fight out of nowhere?
My me,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, y'all. This is so long ago. Okay, let me think. I have definitely like just feeling insecure, low self esteem when I was younger, and wanting to know if people were with me for the right reasons, right? And so I would just pick a fight to see if, like, how far could I push it, like before they leave. And if that person decided to leave, I figured, oh, he wasn't in it to begin with. If something that small is going to get him to like walk out. But for the
Mhm.
guy that would stay, like that's how I would pretty much test whether or not, or how deep was his love. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. How
Yeah.
deep is your love?
How deep
Your love,
is your
your love.
So yeah, it would just be random situations, and I would do it a lot. But again, it was when I was super young and insecure, like
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. And insecurities can wear the other person out. Always feeling like they have to make you feel accepted and complete. And so, like, that's true. That's real, Tiffany. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Um, I wanted to share an excerpt. So I have this book that I wrote. It's called A
Hey,
Syllabus. Hey, a syllabus for Black women. And one of the subtitles is Stop Playing Games, number 73. So can I read a quick excerpt from it?
absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, it says, Stop playing games. I know you're too scared to show your heart because you are tired of being burned. So instead, you play games. And we all know that when games are played, one person will win and one person will lose. It's inevitable. And you, being the person you are, will definitely not be the loser, right? So I'm gonna skip down and it says, I'll let you in on a little secret. When it's all said and done, playing games hurts just as bad as a wounded heart because you never truly get to be yourself. It's always a facade, always a fictional badass version of yourself. No one knows who you really are because you are always covering you up. Hell, you don't even know who you are. You're so busy hiding behind a form of yourself or behind what you want to project that you don't have the opportunity to get to know yourself. Either way, a loss is at stake.
Good. Nice.
Good.
I will say.
And so I
Mhm.
just want to ask, when in any game, there's a winner and a loser, right?
Mhm.
And so in playing games, we're taking the chance of losing or making the other person lose. And so if that's the case, are we really caring about the other person? I'm talking about those more serious games, not the testing the water. Any thoughts on that, on the winning and the losing of games?
I think when like say you are in that like insecure space or like just trying to figure out somebody or whatever the case is and you're playing games, I don't think people go into it realizing that somebody's gonna win and somebody's gonna lose. And so it's one of those things like maybe you have to live and learn something like that. Um, but I don't think people realize that when they're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
And brought up something that, well, what you said like sparked an idea in my mind. And you said people don't really realize, or like they don't go into it realizing that they're going to be playing these games. And I think that intentionality is like the key component. Like before you even like start up a relationship or a situationship or whatever, like on that first date, I think it's important to ask like what exactly are you expecting? Like, are you expecting something that's going to be a situation? Are you expecting just fun and a good time? Are you trying to build? Because I think if if they can answer that intentionally, like, oh, I'm looking for something for real, then you have a lower likelihood of running into someone that's trying to play games. But even if they don't say that they're looking for a situation or just a good time, if they cannot affirmatively answer that with like, I am looking for something real, then you have your answer.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I think
That's
that
good, Marissa.
that's excellent. But I'm thinking about, like, when I was in college, and guys are just immature. I feel like there were definitely times where I would be like really trying to understand, like, what's happening, what are we doing. And they kind of like Sydney, they kind of leave your story earlier, Sydney, where you were like, he kind of didn't define anything. He didn't want to say we were friends, he didn't want to say we were together. You were just kind of in this like relational purgatory, if you will, like just like stuck. And I think that that is something that young women are going to have to like really decide, you know basically what they're going to do, because I feel like guys, especially the ones I dated, I don't know about these new age guys, but the ones I dated were just super immature. And when you would approach them trying to have a mature conversation about, is this a situationship, is this casual, what we, is this, are we together, they wouldn't give you a straight answer. And so even though they claim that they do tell us, no, they don't. You knew what it was. No, bruh. Or they say like, no, I'm not looking for anything, but everything, all the actions, all the everything else is like, so we together? I'm confused. Like, we not? So anyway, I think young ladies just have to like be mature themselves and just decide that they're not gonna live like that. Like, I need a yes or no, black or white, none of this gray area stuff.
That's good.
I mean, that's a really good point. Like, men really are immature in college sometimes, and it sucks because women mature faster, and so we who like know what we want and know like what our end goal is, we probably know that sooner, and we know it in college, and men are just not on that level yet. And I even remember, I think I was talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday. Like, there was a factor for me that like always, like whenever I tell people, like it makes everything more serious. And so like I knew him in college, and back then if I had told him like what that thing was that would have made us more serious, then like he explicitly told me no, I wouldn't have stuck around because I just was not there for something that serious that young. And so we like reconnected after we both graduated, and that same thing wasn't an issue later on. And I think that's one thing that sucks, that like women experience, the fact that like we're ready and mature at a younger age, and we're dealing with men who just are not there yet.
Which is why I feel like when we talk to fly women, at least I try to impress upon them that don't be trying to be serious in college. Like, focus on your books, think about what you're going to do when you graduate and build them coins, and the relationships will come. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times you do circle back around to that dude you was crushing on, or he was crushing on you, but it just wouldn't have worked out because of the timing and the atmosphere. So I'm just like, just trying to convince young people that, young ladies, excuse me, I mean, say girls, young ladies that, this 4 years,
Or five.
they 4, 5, 6 for some, that, you can spend that trying to work on you and not focusing on trying to be booed up necessarily. And I get the need for companionship. Nobody's saying that you can't go to the movie and go out to eat and enjoy somebody's company. But in terms of looking for serious relationships, college, if you're lucky, great. But if not, it's not a bad thing that you didn't find anybody. And I think it's just a great time to be working on you. You didn't lose out on anything by not finding your husband in college.
Yes,
I think
I
a lot of
agree.
people have the expectation though. One of my best friends, her parents met at Hampton, and she went to Hampton expecting the same thing, and then now she's like still with that boyfriend. And like I think because of like her, not that their relationship is bad, but like because of her parents' experience, she like wanted to recreate that with herself. And so maybe some women are like that, like their parents maybe met in college, or they just have that dream of like marrying your college sweetheart or high school sweetheart, whatever the case is. I think when women maybe just have that perspective and like have that desire.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
For some it works and for some it just doesn't. But you got to be
Mhm.
like content with whatever
Mhm.
happens for you.
And and also know that relationships could be seasonal. Like sometimes we get into these serious relationships and it's wonderful, and then it's not wonderful, and then it ends and we feel devastated. But more than likely, the relationship that you're in college is probably not going to be that forever relationship. But I think that's why it's important just to date, have fun, and know that this relationship could just be for this season, and I'm going to enjoy it for this season. If it goes longer, great. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. Which is also why it's important not to have sex with everybody you're in a relationship with. Tiffany, you talked about just going to the movies and just having casual dating, which is wonderful. But that doesn't mean you end that night with sex, because casual sex is not healthy. And then when you want to pull apart, it makes it harder because you've been attached sexually, which means you attached to each other spiritually, physically, emotionally, all those things. So when you pull apart, it's like one of those example is you take two pieces of paper, put glue on it between them, put them together, rub them together, right? When you tear them apart, is it going to be a clean split? No, you're gonna have some pieces of paper with glue over here from this paper and vice versa. And that's how it is with sex. Like, you don't just separate and move on. You've shared yourself with him and vice versa, or if you're in a same-sex relationship, and that's what makes it harder to move on. So I encourage you, if you're casually dating, try not to engage in sex. Because you just end up having a whole bunch of sex partners, which is not fun to take with you into your next part of your life. And that's a whole nother topic. That's past playing
No, but that's
games.
good. It's right what we're talking about, because it also blinds you to them games he playing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
You
That dick
seeing them,
makes
but
you
you letting
blind.
them slide, or you keep no. If you don't have no sexual, what do you call them, sex ties, soul ties, you
Right.
can pick up and go. When you see
Exactly.
that
Because
first red flag,
you be blinded by that dick.
look, I done got mad. I done got, look, you can go if you ain't, So anyway,
Right. And
that's
that
a good
doesn't mean
word,
if you
Tice.
separate if you're in a relationship and you separate and you haven't had sex, that doesn't mean your feelings won't be hurt. That doesn't mean it's gonna be easy. But baby, it's a whole lot easier if the
Yeah.
sex was not involved.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Move on. Next. And sometimes that next, like Tiffany was saying, is just you and yourself, or you and time with God. Okay. It doesn't always have to be a next relationship. It's okay to be by yourself. All right, we're gonna close because unless somebody has something else they want to say about playing games.
No, we
I mean,
probably should
games are fun,
close.
so you might be the loser.
Yeah, we might have to
Right.
part two to this.
All right,
Yes,
let's
because
go.
I mean,
Yeah, that could be a part two. Well, let's move on to the highlight. What we got? What you got for us, Tiffany?
highlights. So I have an announcement. So the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement at UT Austin will be hosting the 35th Human Sweat Symposium on Civil Rights. And this year's theme is Still Hidden Figures, Black Women in the Workplace, which is like so timely and going to be a great conversation. The keynote speaker, or the special guest, however, is Yamiche Alcindor. I believe that's how you say that. Let me check my notes. Yes, Yamiche Alcindor, and she is a PBS and White House correspondent, and she will be sharing with us her experiences as a White House correspondent. You all may know Yamiche. Anybody not familiar with who she is?
I don't know.
So she is, there was, I guess, maybe like 6 months ago, there was a very controversial topic that they were at a press conference for. I think it was uh, immigration and the parent and child separations, and the the White House correspondents, the journalists were asking President Trump, just to remark, answer some questions, and he was hostile towards Yamiche, right? And in some instances, just flat out ignoring her. And so that is kind of like, I guess, her was one of her big coming outs. And so she has been going around and speaking about her experience as a White House correspondent. And so she will be sharing, the Vice President, Dr. Leonard Moore, will be interviewing her. And so it's going to be great. I know as a Black female professional, how difficult it can be sometimes working in spaces, especially majority spaces. And so I'm excited about the conversation. The highlight, though, is that we will get to hear from some FLI alumni who were former FLI participants and UT alumna, and they're going to be sharing their experiences in the workplace right now and kind of just giving us some great nuggets to add to the conversation. And so this is taking place on November 5th from, I think, 5:30 to, no, 6 to 7:30. Let me get that right. 6 to 7:30. And if you all are interested in coming, make sure you go to the DDCE website to register. That's going to be www.ddce.utexas.edu. Okay. So hope to see y'all there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I hope
And
y'all come.
I'm gonna give us the challenge for today. I mean, just based off this topic of playing games, I just want everyone to take some time this week and reflect on whether you're playing games or not, and realize if that's healthy for your life. Is that healthy for your relationship? Is that healthy for your mind and your soul and your mindset, like your mindset? Also a tag off of that when we were talking about just like toxic relationships and stuff like that. Evaluate, do you like knowing your worth? I want you guys to understand your worth this week. And if you don't, start to dig deep, pray about it, talk to God about it. If that's what you do, that's what I do. And because you can't love anybody else until you love yourself, honestly.
If I can add, Thais brought up a really great question. Is there a more mature way to do this?
That's a
Yeah.
real.
Someone hit me.
That is a real
Good.
nuggets. So I'm gonna close this out. Thank you guys for sharing with us and coming in and listening to us and all our thoughts. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to hit us up on our social media or at FLI, our email. So it's fly@utexas.edu. Also, do not forget to do this challenge. Take it in, reflect, remember what you learned here today. And with that being said, ready, set, go get it.